and welcoming you to this month's Care and Support West virtual workshop. Today we have two Care and Support West corporate partners presenting, Syncurio and Olive Recruit. Syncurio will be delivering information on their care home management software system, how it can help you with staff management, rostering, resident billing to tackle the day-to-day operational challenges and managing of your care homes. Olive Recruit will explain how their services can assist you with recruitment by delivering an improved and efficient experience for candidates and employers by reinventing the hiring process entirely. We're recording today's session, and any question if you wish to ask, if you're listening on a record, please don't ask questions, I'm afraid, because they won't be here to answer them. But you could email me and I will present the questions to both presenters. So we have Sharon from Syncurio, and Sharon's going to take the floor. So the floor is yours. Virtual floor is yours. Sharon, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So yeah, I'm Sharon from Syncurio. I'm the sales director here. I've been with the company for about 9 months now. Wow. And then we'll just give you a little bit of a background on how Syncurio was started. So as Karen said, we're a care home management software. So we only work in care home settings, supported living, LD, anything like that. As long as you have a building, we can support you. If you're domiciliary side, we don't have a product that will work for you there, and that'll become clear as I sort of start to show you a little bit of the product. Two care home groups got together when they couldn't find a solution that worked for them anymore. And there are a lot of solutions out there, but there's just things that are not specific for care homes. And as you guys will know, having something specific for care homes, they're very unique entities in the way that they run, being 24-hour-a-day businesses. So having something that managed staff through that process and rostered correctly for that was something that they just couldn't find that worked. So they got together about 5 years ago and started Syncurio, and it's just gone from strength to strength. So we have different modules. We have 3 modules, and I'll show you some of these too. We have an HR module, which will cover your time and attendance, your rostering, all of your staff management, including your UKBA, your holidays, your sickness, and all of the reporting that goes along with that. And then that all feeds into your payroll. And then we have a resident module, which has a resident CRM. It has your resident billing and all your resident management on there. And then we've just launched our governance, which does all of your auditing for your care home and your action planning. Today, we're going to concentrate mostly on HR and resident billing, because this webinar was really around budgeting, and we know how tight things are in care homes at the moment, and just budgeting correctly for your staff and the cost against residents can really, really help give you a view of what you're spending and what it's costing you in your care home. So Karen, is it okay if I just share my screen now and then we can go from there? Okay, let me just get onto a dashboard here and I will do that. So this is our Syncurio dashboard for this home I'm in now. You can see you've got your HR, your residents, we've got a reporting tool here. There's also governance, which this home doesn't use, and we've got sysadmin. The joy with Syncurio is although it's a system that is ready to be used by any care home setting, it is completely configurable to your setting. So in the background, in our sysadmin, you can configure everything around your care home that you want. So for instance, you can configure what financial settings that you're going to use in your care home. We can put in all of your care home details. Have you got contracted beds? Do you have any agency providers? And again, things like agency can accelerate your spend, and that can get out of control. So having your agency providers in here, how much they charge, anytime you use an agency, it will then spit out a report for you to tell you how much your agency spend is against your normal spend for your staff. In HR, we can customize everything around the system. So you can have any amount of contracts in here for staff. And if I just click into this one here, we can see that this is Apple Tree Arbor. They've got 28 days paid leave, inclusive of bank holidays. And you can again base your annual leave on contracted hours or indeed worked hours, and it will work out exactly what the worked hours are against the number of days that you give them for annual leave. And again, this is where the system comes into its own, because you have your bank holidays. What are the bank holidays that you pay? What do you pay? When do you pay that from? So you can work out the minutiae of detail of overtime or double time or time and a half for different bank holidays across the year. And again, things like your weekend rates. Are they in a percentage? Are they overtime? Are they in a cost, a pound cost? So you can work out that here easily, any overtime, any night rates. And again, it might be that you pay a night rate for 4 hours in the middle of the night. You can easily adjust the system to be able to do that for you. And once that is done, and against this contract, you can then attach the contract to any role in your business, and that will automatically run through to payroll for you. So it's the setting up in first instance that we do with you that really helps make the system work very cleverly in the front end. And again, things like your break rules, what are they? Do you pay breaks? We've got a lot of break rules in this care home here, and you can set up as many sets of break rules and attach those to any role that you want, and your bank holiday calculators, etc. So just setting up the system in the back end correctly really helps with running through to payroll. The other thing that works really well in the system is our TNA. So we have a TNA device, which if I click onto here, we can see this here. And if I show you how that works, the staff will come in, there'll be a tablet on the wall, they'll put in their name, start typing it, it will bring their name up. They all have a PIN number. So there are no fobs involved here. There's nothing that's going to cost you anything extra when they lose those fobs. We just have a PIN. And if I put Charles's PIN in here, it'll ask me to take a picture. I'm sharing my screen with you, so it can't take a picture of me right now. But then it'll say to Charles, do you want to clock in? He's not at work at the moment, so the only option is to clock in. He's not registered to be on a shift, so he's got 3 different roles. What role is he coming in for? I'm going to say I've called Charles and he's got a senior care role today. It's unscheduled, and that's him now signed in. That will go through into my TNA confirmations because he's not due to be at work, so I need to correct that before we pay Charles. I need to make sure that this is okay. In our roster view settings here, we choose what the tolerances are around that TNA confirmation unit. So we've got our roster view settings for times, we've got our rostering rules. So again, can you roster holiday? You roster your staff when they're on holiday? Can you pay overtime? What's the maximum amount of hours a staff member can work? How many hours do they need off to reset? But then for your TNA behaviours, this is going to decide what goes through to payroll instantly. So if I work within the rules, if I clock in 29 minutes before my shift and clock out before 3 minutes after, lovely. That goes straight through to payroll without you having to do anything. And this is where if you're on paper and you're having to sign into work and then at the end of the week collate all that and then work it all out, this is doing all that job for you to make it so much easier. So we've got a reasonable threshold, 30 minutes early. If I clock in 31 minutes early, it'll go through to TNA confirmations for me to say that's okay, or I'm going to pay for 8 o'clock. We can reset to shift time. So even if I clock in 30 minutes early, it's still going to pay me from 8 o'clock in the morning if that's the start of my shift. So again, just taking out the things that you have to correct again and again, and then clocking out early, clocking out late. It might be that if you have staff who clock in 5 minutes late, you pay them 15 minutes late. So if I clock in at 8:05, I get paid from 8:15. This is where you would set all of that up so that it just runs and runs and makes it nice and simple for you in the front end. Staff sickness is also quite a big thing. So you have on our system, you have the Bradford factor. So the Bradford factor works out the total number of spells against the total days of absence, and that will work out a score for you. The staff also see the score on their employee portal. So if they want to book some holiday, for instance, and they think, oh, I haven't got time off, I might just take a sneaky duvet day. They might see the Bradford factor is 49 and then think, actually, I'm on grounds for verbal warning if I take a duvet day. So it can be a deterrent as well. But, and again, you set this as what you want. So we've got at 50, they get a verbal warning. You might say that might be 100. But it just gives you a real clear indication of how many days were they off for. This is going to work that out, and it'll graph that for you as well to make it really simple. So that just gives you a bit of an idea of how configurable the system is in the back end. I'm not going to go into everything because we haven't got time today and it would bore you to tears. But let's have a little bit of a look now just at the HR side of things. So again, it's got nice dashboards everywhere. So it's giving you a load of information straight off the bat. This care home's got 58 employees. We've got some vacancies in there. We've got an average Bradford factor there, not too bad. And we've got 7 people off on holiday at the moment. We've got this number of employees or these amount of departments. And again, you choose the departments. And then we've got our rights to work. So the rights to work is a really important thing. If you have anyone working with you on a visa, this will give you a 90, 60, 30-day warning, and then it will tell you when that visa is expired. It will also tell the member of staff 90, 60, 30 days out that they need to be renewing that visa. When that visa is expired, you don't want to be rostering someone, so there'll be a warning on your roster of their visa information. That is really important. It's £45,000 fine for your first offence, so we don't want to be caught out if that happens to us. So again, it gives you that information there. Down the side, we've got a nice little list of everything that you can access. And I'm just going to start at the top and run through a few bits and pieces. Your employees are all here. And again, this is a report in itself. So we've got all of our employees and you can search, sort and filter here. We can see who's got the most holiday. So maybe halfway through the year, you start thinking, Charlie, you need to actually be getting some holiday taken because you've got a lot of holiday left. So lots of care homes like to manage that, and you can easily manage that here. The same way as you can sort out your Bradford factor, who's got the highest Bradford factor. We can see that Tallulah Earl here has been off quite a lot, so we can do that. And again, we've got expiry dates for our visas. We don't have anyone working on a visa in this care home. So we can sort and filter. We can also email the staff or text the staff or direct message the staff from here. So if I want to send a message out to all the staff, I can click this box. If I want to just send it out to a few members, oops, clicked on her by mistake there. Just do that again. Send an email. If I just click maybe these 2 ladies here, and then I want to send them a message. So again, email, choose a file, attach anything you want to that email. We can drop a text to them. There's no charge for text messaging, incidentally. And then direct messaging. Direct message is by far our favourite because when they log into work the next time or log onto their employee portal, they'll see the message. They'll have to confirm that they've read the message. That creates a report for you of the message and when they read it. So they can't say, oh, I didn't know I had training on the 4th. I didn't see the message. You will have a confirmation that they've read that message. So that's a nice way to keep in touch with your staff. If we click onto a staff member, in fact, I'm going to go on to this one here and have a little bit of a look at the staff on this one because I know my staff in here. Onto my employees, and I'm just going to choose a member of staff. So I'm going to choose Charles on here. I can search for him and I can just click. We've got all the usual details in here. We've got Charles's statutory, so you've got your DBS on here, your NMC. You've got your rights to work. So Charles is a citizen of the United Kingdom. However, let's say Charles was from Albania and he was on a skilled worker visa. We can see all the types of visa we have here. It will then drop down and tell me everything that I need to fill in for Charles from that country. And it's also linked directly to the gov.uk website, so you can check that visa is actually real and in date, and you can see all the information that you need to fit in. If they're a student, it brings up a calendar, so you can check if they want to work more during the student times, etc. You can see we've got the same little dashboard down the side. We can go down through these. I've changed that, so it's just letting me know. So again, we come on to Charles, and again, you'll have carers in your service who have different roles. You can have as many roles as you want under each person, and you can have as many contracts attached to that person. So Charles may be on a different contract for his care assistant role as is coordinator, activities coordinator. This is his primary role here as a senior carer. He works 44 hours a week. We can see quickly what contract he's attached to. So without having to go and search for how many days holiday he gets, etc., we can see all of that just here. He's on Bank Holiday UK bank holidays, and he's on break rules full day, so we can see what breaks he gets. We see his salary, and then down here it tells us what his holiday entitlement in, what he's accrued to date, what he's taken, and what he's got remaining. So it just brings up all Charles's details really simply on here. And if we click through, he's on a 0 hours contract for carers, and he gets 11.44, and he's got 8 hours a week. He gets paid breaks on his activity coordinator role, and we can see all that he's got there. So nice and simply, it keeps everything in one spot. We can see he was off a little bit in October. He's got a Bradford factor of 4. So all of your employee notes are all in the one spot here. Our next part that we're going to put down here will be supervisions and analysis. So your supervisions will be down here underneath. Each employee will have their own supervision record in there. We'll go on to budget because this is really what we want to be talking about. So this care home has 16 residents. We can see how much we pay out in payroll. We can see what our average weekly fees are. We can see the cost per resident. We can see the payroll weekly fee, and we can see the staff hours that we're working up at the top here. So across each of these, you kind of get a dashboard at the top that's telling us the information. You will set the budget for your service. You may already do this. So in here, we have all of your departments. Remember, you've chosen these departments before. And if I click into one of these departments, we can see here that we've got our note across the top. So we've got senior care here, and we've got our shift patterns that we work. So you'll put these in and decide what shift patterns you work and how many senior carers you need on the floor. So I need one on days, one on nights, and I've not put any in for that day shift yet because I don't need one. For my care assistants, again, I've got days and nights. I need 2 on days and 1 on nights. Every time I put something in here, it will tell me exactly how much that's going to cost for the department, how much it costs for the role, how much it costs per resident, how many hours that gives me, and the cost per resident per day. And again, you can add in all the information across here. We can see we've got our national insurance. So again, you could put that in as the new rate and then see how much difference that's going to make to your payroll. What is that going to actually cost you? So I hope all that makes sense. You can put all of your departments in here, all of your rates of pay, and it's going to give you a budget of cost of what it's going to cost you to run that home. What you can also do from here is you can attach this budget to your roster. So you can tie your roster down to your budget. If you're running a single care home, you might do that. You might not want to do that. If you're running a group of homes and you're the ops director and you're running, or the regional director and you're running 3 or 4 services, it might be good for you to lock this down with a little bit of flexibility. So maybe you can add 1 shift. But if you know exactly what your spend is every single week against your roster, then there's not going to be any surprises coming out of this care home at your cost at payroll, because you know exactly how much it should cost and how much it will cost you. Okay, let's have a little look at our roster. So here we have a roster. This roster is already filled in. We've got lots and lots of care staff on this roster. We've got maintenance, we've got our domestic, we've got our catering, we've got our admin, and almost everything that's filled in here on this roster. So this is a good full roster. These staff are all over it filling this roster in. Now, this is a busy roster. So sometimes you might think, actually, I'd like to group this by role. So we group it by role, and it's going to sort out all of our roles here. So again, we can see we've got night staff, care assistants, senior carers. So it just breaks that into a place where it's a little bit easier for us to look at. We might also want to think, actually, I want to take some of this down. I just want to see my care staff. So we can just take this, filter it down, and now just we're looking at care staff. So this is a nice roster that's already been filled in. Once we have a roster that's filled in, what we can do is we can save that roster. So you save that roster as a template and off we go. So if you've got permanent staff that are working, all of that, you can pop them into the roster and then just run that roster. You might call it week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, whatever you want. You're just going to pop those straight into the roster. I'm going to move on to a care home so that I can show you what to do if we want to use a different type of roster. So I'll go back into this care home here and go into my roster here. I can see this roster is not quite as full. So this is my sort of demo roster so that I can show you what we can do. So we can see we've got lots of shifts on this roster that are a little bit empty. And again, I'm going to just take this down to my care staff because that makes it a little bit easier for me. I'm going to filter that down into care staff, and then I'm going to group by role. So I've got senior carers here and I've got care staff. Hopefully your rosters won't look as gappy as this, but I've filled in everybody that's there, and now I've got some empty shifts that I want to fill. Really simply, I can click on a shift. I've got a senior care shift here, and I'm going to offer this to Belinda, I'm going to offer it to Sylvia, and I'm going to offer it to Beryl. I can send a message out now, and that is going to send out a text message to those 3 carers saying, there's a shift up for grabs, do you want it? So rather than pick up the phone and try and fill that, worse still, rather than pick up and say, I need an agency member of staff, you can offer that out to your staff first. And you can offer that out to as many staff as you want. That's one way of filling the shifts. The other way is, once we've got a roster in place, we think, right, okay, there's quite a lot of gaps in here. I don't want to be texting 25 different people. What you can do here is you can notify your staff. Before I do that, I'm just going to show you at the bottom here that if I go right down to the bottom, I do have my agencies at the bottom. So you'll remember that I showed you in sysadmin, we can add in the agencies that we use on a regular basis. So now I could say, I'm actually going to put an agency worker in here because that's how I'm going to operate this. And that would then give me a cost in my reporting for what that agency is going to cost me. The other thing you'll see here is I've got senior care borrowed. So if you have care homes that are close to each other and you wish to share your staff amongst your own care homes, you can absolutely do that. So you can use staff from your own family of staff, which is what we'd always want, in the care home. So you can also do that. So we want to go a long way before we get to the bottom here and use our agency staff if we can help it. So going back to filling this with our own staff first so that we know what we're doing, we've got a notify staff button here. If I click this notify staff and I publish the available shifts, it will bring up all of my staff members. And I've got various different shifts in here, and I could notify the staff. Now, it might be that Beryl actually has been off sick and sometimes she takes some time off and then picks up overtime. So I don't want to offer these to Beryl, and I also don't want to offer them to Charles. So you can pick and choose who you offer the shifts out to here. If I press notify, it will now tell me, here are all the shifts that we're notifying. If I press OK, that's going to send an email out to everyone, and they will get a list of those shifts. And they can choose the shifts they want to do. If the staff member, like I quite often am on the list, I will say, I want all these shifts. It will then work it all out and say, you could actually work just these 3 shifts because you're coming off a night shift, so you can't work this day shift, and you're over your hours. So it will work out exactly what shifts I can fill in for you. So against those rostering rules that we set in that back end, it will work out exactly what each member of staff will do. And then out of those 25 shifts, it might say you're actually suitable to work these 3. Do you want them? As soon as I say I want the shift, it will populate me into the roster and take the envelope away. So you can immediately see who's got what. The other thing we've got is we're 59% rostered here. So I've got a little toggle here. If I put this onto this view, it then tells me how far along my staff are. So Belinda is 99% of her staff or her fulfillment for her hours. Charles is 75%, so he could do with another shift. And we can see some people have got 0 here. So you can just see exactly how much the staff have. So every time you drag and drop a shift in, every time you fill a shift in for someone, it will populate down into here. And there's lots of ways that we can pull the shifts in. So we can drag and drop shifts. We can just click the shift, add the staff member's name. So lots of nice, easy ways for you to roster. If I take this roster out altogether, let me just check what site I'm on so that I don't delete some crucial information. So if I just delete this roster, I remember when I told you at the start that we can use the template from our budget. So this care home has got a budget set. If I import the roster from budget, it's now going to import that roster. So if I take my group by role off of here, rather take this one off, it will populate the roster from my budget. So we can see now we've got a full roster in here from the budget. It's totally empty. I could fill that with my fixed shifts that I've got that I know pattern-wise work, and then I can save that as a template. So if you want to be really tight with your roster, keep a real control of your costing, import your roster from the budget. This is what you need in your care home. This is exactly what you've worked out that you need. If you want to use that, it's there for you to use. But again, you can set a little bit of flexibility around that. So if I suddenly was having a big open day and I needed a few extra staff, you could absolutely allow that to happen if you wanted to. Your decision at head office level or at sysadmin, the highest level. So again, we know that there's hierarchy in care homes. You're going to set that sysadmin so that you work around that hierarchy of who sees what, when and where. Okay. Right, let's have a little bit of a look at our holiday. So here you have your holiday requests. Just click onto there. Oh, we've only got one request in here. It's this one. A holiday requests in here. So I've got lots of holiday requests. I'm quite a bad manager, to be honest. I've not kept on top of these, but I can see all the requests that have come in from the staff members of holiday that they wish to take. Now, I can see that Barbara would like this holiday, and I can see that Charles would like this one. Somebody else is off in June. I'm not sure. Is that going to overlap? I can't really tell from here. So I have a little calendar that does tell me exactly what's going on. So I can, again, if you are saying 2 people can't be off at once, then I can see clearly on here. And I've got all of my colours here. So I might just decide I want to just look at care, and I can see who's off when and where. If there's a little tick, the holiday's been approved. If not, this one hasn't been approved. There's a little widget rather than me having to go back to another tab or back to the member of staff. Here, I can just say, sorry, Charles, you can't have holiday. You're actually already double booked yourself. So this holiday is going to be rejected. So I can reject that holiday. It's gone out the calendar. Charles gets a notification to say his holiday's been rejected, and it just keeps you on top of everything. Hope that makes sense. We'll have a little look at payroll. So again, you've got all of your T&A logs. So everything that's ever come into T&A will be down in here. I'm sure I had some T&A logs lined up. Let me see T&A confirmations. So in here we have T&A confirmations. So I've got a lot of sick and AWOL in here. If we had any members of staff who were working through Grange National Home, let me just change and see if I can find a care home that's got some T&A. There we go. So we've got quite a few T&A confirmations in here to be worked through. My computer screen is really tiny, so this all squishes up, but let me just move this out here a little bit. So what we can see here is when people were rostered onto shift, when they came in, what's confirmed, when they rostered out. So it gives us times so that we can now go through this before we go to our payroll, because if I go to payroll review, it won't allow me to review this payroll because there's T&A confirmations that have not been corrected yet. So all I would do is they come in late. So let's just have a little look. 8 o'clock on Saturday, I'm just going to say that's fine. They came in at 8 and it auto-clocked them out according to our rules. So again, I can just go in here and say they clocked out at 8 o'clock at night. Apply that. And that will say that was a 12-hour shift worked. That's lovely. So all you do is go through these. They came in at 11. They were an unattended shift. I might have asked them to come in. So again, I can say, ask them to come in late or ask them to come in to cover a shift. And you're applying that information into here. What it does then is it will carry all that information through into my payroll for me so that when I want to look at payroll, I've got all the information. So I just go into this one. I can see all the information here. So I've got all of my members of staff. I've got all of the hours, the contracted hours. I've got all of the actual tags for what they worked. Was it holiday pay? Was it work? Was it extra? I've got all my roles. This is a sense check for you. You've sense checked all this information here. You've got all of your rates and salary, and then you've got your total cost. And I can see up here, this care home has got no agency cost. So I've got 15 employees. This is the amount of hours worked. This is the cost for me. There's 5 holidays in there. That's how much that cost me. Got some payable extras there. And then I've got a training shift in there somewhere. So that's cost me some money there. All this information then can just be directly exported out to your payroll. So we can close and export that out to payroll. You can do a payroll review. You can choose your payroll periods. So you might pay monthly, you might have a split period, you might pay weekly, you might just choose your periods here. And then that will go directly to your payroll. So it makes it super simple, export it out, and then it creates an upload for you to put into your payroll system, whether that be Sage or Aquila or whatever it is that you use. I hope all that makes sense. Okay, I'm going to quickly just have a look at our payroll reporting here. So things like our recruitment vacancies, who's on, you've got a holiday and sickness report. This one here is going to give you no payroll closed. I'm just going to this one here, HR reports. Now go into payroll summary here. So what this one is going to do, is it's going to have a little look. Oh, it's got some data in there. There we go. So we've got 54 beds in this care home. We are at 83% occupancy. My average weekly fee is this. Again, I've got no agency cost. Most care homes that use the system don't have any agency spend because they're using their own family of cost. This is the hours. So this home has set a budget. This is the hours that they budgeted for. This is the actual hours that they're working. So they're not sticking to the budget in here. And then we've got the difference. Cost per resident per day. And then their average weekly fee. They've got 609 shifts, 109 unscheduled shifts. This is way too many unscheduled. And then we've got a total of your shifts there. So we've got 100%. If you really like to look at figures, you can change this into here and it will come up with the biggest report in the world, but it's going to give you your budgeted hours against your budgeted cost, against your actual hours, against your actual cost. It goes on and on and on. So to pull out reports like this would take quite a lot of time for you to collate this information, not using a system, but this system will pull all that information into reporting for you. And again, you can look at any of the homes in your service and any period of time, or select a bunch of periods of time here. So lots and lots of information for you to be able to filter and sort through. giving you a real top-down look at the spend in your service and the ability to be able to keep on top of that spend. I think, as one of our services says, it's the difference between being in, you know, £500,000 worth of debt or £500,000 worth of profit, is being able to keep a tight control on what your spend is. We'll have a little quick look at residents, and then I'll hand over to Olive Recruitment, because I think that would be really useful. Residents is pretty the same. So you'll see the dashboards look the same. Once you've used one side of the system, it's very easy to then use the other side. But in here, again, we'll set all of this up in the sysadmin. So what residents funding sources do you have? We've got Nottingham Council, we've got self-funded, and we've got Nottingham City Council as well. We've got some local authority, we've got self-funding, we've got our beds here, we've got no contracted beds in this care home, which is why you've got occupancy and occupants. And then you've got different bits of information down at the bottom here. You've also got inquiry statuses at the bottom, and your discharge, deaths, and admissions are all here as well. So it's pulling a whole load of information in so that we can clearly see what's going on. I'm just going to change onto this resident one here because I know my residents better. There we go. So this one's been updated a little bit. You've got your inquiries pending, etc. And you can see we've got some admissions here in me for this care home. Perfect. Click onto my residents. Again, it's very similar. My resident list, here are all my residents. If I go down and pick Florence, let's have a little look at Florence. So she's known as Flo. We pull all her details in. We've got her admission details, but more importantly, what we've got here is Florence's fees. So she is, we can see, funded by private insurance, and that adds up to her room rate. And again, we can have a look at the one. If we hide all the columns, we can see everything that comes into this care home, but Florence only uses these two. So we only want to see the ones that the resident uses, otherwise it's really busy. Now, as we know, fees can change. Councils can add stuff onto our fees, takes fees away. The insurance might have dropped off now, and it might be due in private funding. Family might be helping out. Whatever's happening, we can easily adjust the fees. This is something that can take a really long time in a care home when we have that fee change. But what we can do here is really simple. We can click onto here and we can edit this line of fees. So we can see this one was changed, started on the 3rd, 2025. If I want to change the date now and say, actually, in the 1st of April, the fees changed again. And this is our private, it's private contract, it's nurse and private. We've got the code in here, and the weekly fee is £1,000, 1,100. I'm going to say that went down to 1,000, just because my maths will be really simple if I do it that way. And we fill in all the information there. Source 2, from the same date, we're going to say that went up £100. So it's 200 now, I'm going to say it went up to 350. That's going to keep my room rate the same, but it just means the source, it just means that the fees have changed for each person. If we now press see changes, what that will do is it'll put this up to here. So it'll tell me that that's changed, that's gone up 100, that's gone down 100. If I press apply changes, it will now work out exactly who needs to be debited, who needs to be credited, the number of days that happened for, and then exactly what's happening there. We can press accept. Perfect. So that's changed the fee. If my maths, which is usually diabolical, if I had changed one up to 100 and changed the other one down by 50, there'd be a big red warning on there telling me this does not make sense. The room rate is not the same. Do I want to continue? Because one simple change of £100 can throw everything out. So we want to make sure that you're warned. If you're going to change something that's not going to add up, that will give you that warning. That will just go through into your next billing run. So when you now bill out, it will backdate all of that, debit and credit, whoever it needs to. So there's not all of this working out and causing an absolute nightmare of workload here. If I click into here now and I go North Lincolnshire Council, generate some invoices. Let's choose a date range here. Here I go to this period here. So I can get some invoices up. Come on, brilliant. Oh my goodness me. Let's go client contribution. I think this might have no, oh, there we go. So we've got 3 invoices ready to send out here. Click let me approve, and these will go through to my approvals. Now, if I can sense check these as well, I think, yeah, these are all exactly the right room rate. This is the right number of days. That's the period. Wonderful. I can edit the bill date in here if I want to, and then I can just click on here. Again, I can send an accounting summary. I can approve these. I can export them out if I want to. Again, lots of reporting in here. If one doesn't look right and I don't want it to hold up the run, I can just click this one and I can approve the others. I'm going to approve all of these. And then they'll go through into my approved invoices. Here are all the approved invoices that I have sitting. And again, these are ready to go. So if I click onto here, I can export them. I can send an accounting summary. Perfect. I can move to history. If you're having council, you're not ever really going to be sending an invoice to the council. They're all automatically going to be set in advance to just move straight to history. And again, I can email an invoice. I can download an invoice so we can see what that looks like. Just download here, open this file. We can see we've got a lovely invoice ready to go out to this customer. And again, this will be completely configured to your setting, your costing, everything around your bills, how you like them to be paid, all of your details at the bottom here. So I think you'll agree, really, really simple. It is as simple as it looks. You are creating the information and it is going to do all the work for you. You're going to sense check that. And when you're ready, you can export that out or send your accounting summary, and that is going to go all the way there. Inquiries. So again, simple CRM system in here. You've got your pending leads, what you've got in process, your assessments completed, etc. And at the bottom here, you can simply add an inquiry, put all your resident details in for that inquiry, put your admission details in, so when they're ready to come in, and then any attachments. And that will just follow along that inquiry. We are partners with PCS and we're soon to be partners with Nourish. So along there, there'll be admission details. So again, you'll be able to push that resident to Nourish at that point. I think you have to wait till the end to push them to PCS. But you can do your pre-assessment and ensure that they're going to be right for you before you admit them into your care home, and then be able to push them along into whichever your system is. If you don't use either of those systems, sadly, we don't have a push for every system out there. There are a lot of systems out there, as you know, for care planning. And again, you have a lot of reporting in here, care fees, funding by source, payment methods, invoice reports, all sorts of information in here against your residents so that you can keep on top of absolutely everything. I'm going to show you one more report for those of you who really love reporting. And again, all the reports are here. In our general, we have an estimated EBITDA. So that's going to just ping open in a second. Trust. It seems to have decided to stop working. Let me just go into this one, see if I can get it here. So this is our estimated EBITDA. We click down here, we can see we've got all of our funding sources here. We've got our income. We've got our payroll of what's going out. We've got our estimated cost that we can add. So anything else that you're costing in your care home, we can work that out into here, and it'll give us a percentage of resident per day cost. And then at the bottom, you have your EBITDA. So again, for those of you who love reporting, you can export this out. You can look at it in as many ways as you want, but all the information is there for you to be able to really cost down into the absolute minutiae of running your services and keeping a real hold on the cost that is going to incur for you. I think that is me finished.
Wow, goodness me.
I know.
It's
a lot. It is a
lot
lot.
to take in, but
Whistle stop tour.
No, well, I think that's a really good tour, actually. It demonstrates the product and how it can help with the business. I've got a couple of questions, if I may ask. Once you've actually installed, and you said that you sit and set up the system with the client,
Yes.
who do you offer support afterwards? What does that look like?
Yeah, so we've got a support team who work with us. They're very experienced. So we have 3 people in support at the moment. Linda has been in the business for 27 years of working in care home settings and also software. So she knows everything that there is to know around what your clients would need. We have Michelle and we have Sari. So we have 3 client support people there. They will do your onboarding and work with you all the way through. So your onboarding, again, 3 days of setting that up so it looks just right for you. We have a really robust training as well. So you go away knowing how to work that system inside and out. And it's your system, you can change it. But support can be accessed by a telephone call. We actually speak to human beings. So that's really nice because we're in a caring industry and people like to talk to each other. We have an email address, and also on every page of the system, there's a flag. If you click that flag, it'll take a photograph of what you're trying to do. And then you can write, I can't remember how to change the residence admission date or room number, so again, we'll get an exact idea of what you want, and all those flags come directly into the support team. So yeah, there's lots of support there.
That's really good to hear, because I can imagine. I was sat here picturing myself when I was doing that sort of work and trying to sort of think, yeah, that I can see the usefulness of that. I can see how that works and how speedy that is in comparison to when you try to sort of do it yourself. The cost of payroll, I mean, is huge, and sort of like the differences that you encounter. I think that's fabulous, sort of. Yeah, and the reports. I mean, how good are those?
I know the reporting is absolutely to the nth degree, because the owners that have the care homes that set up, one of those owners used to work in finance. So for him, spreadsheets and everything, he was running his care home on a massive amount of spreadsheets, and he just wanted all of that automated. If the information's in there, it's going to go into a report or a spreadsheet somewhere. So everything can be looked at as reports, but when you click export, you can export everything out into spreadsheets that the likes of I've never seen. But if you're a numbers person and you want to, the information is absolutely there to be drilled into. So it's very, very handy.
All right, that's lovely. So if anybody wishes to get hold of you, where do they get hold of you to?
Yeah, so they can go onto our website. I'm sure you have our details on Circle. So we're also on Care and Support West website. Yeah, you can find us in either of those there, and we'll probably share the details somewhere on this webinar, I would imagine, as well. So yeah, absolutely. Get in touch. We'll be delighted to show you around the system.
Fabulous. Thank you very much for that, Sharon.
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it. Really, really good information, and I'm sure a lot of people will find it very beneficial. Thank you. Okay, so that leads me nicely on to Leona, who's going to tell us all about Olive Recruit. Do you want to introduce yourself, Leona? Well, you want me to pull your slides up, don't you? So
yes, please, if you wouldn't mind.
No, that's fine. You carry on. Thank you.
Fabulous. So, hi everybody. I'm Leona. I'm the Client Service Operations Manager for Olive Recruit, and I lead and I manage the end-to-end recruitment process with a strong focus on delivering high quality, tailored staffing solutions across the diverse sectors. I also oversee internal recruitment as well, making sure that we're building teams and aligning with our values and visions for long-term success. I have about 27 years of experience in the recruitment sector, and I bring deep expertise in talent acquisition, candidate engagement, client relationship management, and new business development. So I personally thrive in a fast-paced, dynamic environment. I'm passionate about matching the right talent with the right opportunities. So for me, I pride myself on the ability to identify potential, build trust, create positive outcomes for both clients and candidates. I'm incredibly hands-on, very strategic, people-focused, and whether I'm supporting a large-scale recruitment drive or mentoring staff or shaping bespoke solutions to meet complex client needs.
Can I just check? Can you see this? The slides? I can. Are they coming through to you?
I can't, no.
Okay. Oh gosh. Okay, let's stop again. Let me start again then. Try again. Do apologise.
Are you sharing your screen, Karen? It might be something simple as that.
It came up. Oh, I've got to find it again now. Sorry, I do apologise. It's disappeared now. Bear with everybody. Sorry.
That's okay. This is why I don't do IT.
No, it's okay.
I'm definitely seeing something trying to be shared.
Can you see this now? Are you coming through?
I've got a black screen.
Okay. Oh dear. Okay. We'll try again then.
Sharon?
Black screen, yeah.
Let me take the protected view off. Maybe that's why it's not allowing me to share. So let's try again. Yeah, it's coming through as a black screen.
I think you're still on Teams. If you click, are you still on the Teams tab there? It looks like you are.
Yeah,
You're not on the...
it's not allowing me to share the screen. Wonder why. Let me
Are you trying to maybe it can let you share the window rather than the screen? So if you open up the
No, it's black. It's coming through as black. I've got the PowerPoint. I can see the PowerPoint very clearly, and it's not coming through.
Here we go.
Can you see that now? Right. Okay.
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay. Brilliant. Sorry. Apologies, everybody. Sharon, sorry, Leona, over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, so obviously started, so I'm on screen at slide 2, Karen, just introducing myself. Perfect. So there I am. And as I just said, I think, I'd like to say, for me, what sets me apart is my commitment to excellence, integrity, and collaboration. I embrace every challenge as an opportunity to grow, innovate, and drive impactful results, building strong teams and long-term partnerships along the way. Next slide. So who we are. Olive Recruit is a specialist recruitment agency with a strong focus on the health and social care sector. Our deep understanding of this field allows us to provide a tailored recruitment solution that meets both regulative standards and specific needs of our clients and our candidates. While health and social care is at the heart of everything we do, our expertise and our experience extends beyond that. We're successful at delivering recruitment services across a variety of industries, demonstrating our adaptability and comprehensive recruitment expertise. Our goal is always to connect the right people with the right opportunities, ensuring quality placements that make a difference to you. Next slide. So our mission and values. Our mission at Olive Recruit is simple but powerful: to connect compassionate, skilled professionals with organisations that truly make a difference in people's lives. We believe recruitment in the health and social care go beyond just filling vacancies. It's about understanding the values of our clients and matching them with individuals who are not only have the right skills, but also share commitment to the care and to make an impact. So our core values guide is in everything we do. We're responsive, so we act quickly. We're proactive. We're always listening to the needs of both the clients and the candidates. We operate with honesty, so we provide clear, transparent communication throughout the entire recruitment process, be it good, bad, or indifferent. And above all, we're supportive. So we're here to help with every step of the way, offering guidance and encouragement to make sure that there's success on both sides. And finally, we focus on building long-term partnerships. So trust is about foundation of what we do, and it's something that we work hard to ensure that is maintained in every step through every part of our communication. Going through with our process, we are following a streamlined step-by-step approach that ensures efficiency without compromise of our quality. So our process is designed to be clear and structured, but also flexible enough to meet the unique needs of the clients and the candidates. From the initial briefing to placement and to post-placement support, every stage is carefully managed and is unique to the clients that we're working with. We obviously, and you'll hear this a fair bit, we operate with a right person, right role mindset. This means we go above beyond just checking qualifications. We really take the time to understand the cultural needs, the goals, and the values of the organisations that we are working with. We want to match those candidates that are actually going to thrive within the organisation and the environment that we've placed them with. Our approach is candidate-centric, so we treat every candidate with respect, transparency, and offering support throughout their journey as well. So sometimes we're delivering at the same time, we're offering bespoke solutions to our clients, making sure that each recruitment strategy is tailored, effective, and aligned with their workforce goals. It's a dual focus on both candidate and client that allows us to deliver consistent, strong goals. Next day, thank you. So what we do, our team is committed to delivering top-tier staffing solutions, talent acquisition services that truly deliver success on our clients. We understand, as I said already, that every client, every business is unique. So our approach has to be the same, so not one size fits all. We take the time to understand each organisation, the challenges that you face and your goals, and this allows us to match you with the candidates that aren't just qualified but who are, more importantly, the right cultural fit and operational fit. We provide ourselves on a fast, reliable, without ever compromising on quality, whether it's a short-term placement, a long-term hire, or a hard-to-fill role. Our methods are effective and efficient. Everything that we do is focused on creating high-quality results that support the business growth. We aim to become a trusted extension to your team, somebody who you can rely on for insight, support, and consistent delivery. Next slide. I believe what sets us apart, Olive Recruit, is that we offer this personalised approach. We bring to every single placement that we make. So we don't just, as I said, fill roles, we build relationships. We take the time to understand the needs and the goals and the values of the candidates, as I said already, and the clients, which allows us to make this meaningful and lasting matches. Our deep industry knowledge, particularly in health and social care, is backed by a strong grasp of compliance and regulatory standards. This ensures that our recruitment practices are not only effective, but they are also aligned with the industry requirements. Importantly, we focus on matching values and culture, not just about skills and experience, but we believe that most successful placements come from aligning people with organisations that they can truly thrive. And that means we look beyond the CV. Finally, our proven track record of client satisfaction speaks for itself. We like to build long-standing partnerships that are based on trust, results, and a shared commitment to excellence. Thank you. At Olive Recruit, we go beyond traditional recruitment, so offering a full suite of services designed to support business growth and talent success at every level. We focus on strategic hires, the kind of placement that can have a direct and positive impact on your organisation and growth trajectory. On our recruitment, we ensure right fit, so we can offer psychometric testing. This helps us to assess the candidate beyond qualifications and looks at personality, behaviour and cultural alignment, ensuring a deeper and more meaningful match. We're able to offer a recruitment processing outsourcing model. So this gives businesses the opportunity to outsource their recruitment function. This provides consistent expert-led hiring and ideal for organisations that are looking to scale up. We also provide monthly analytical bespoke support, so helping clients track performance, improve decision-making, and refine the talent strategy over the time that they are recruiting. All of this is part of a flexible, scalable recruitment solution, so it's adaptable to the needs, whether you're hiring for one role or building an entire team. While Olive Recruit gets access to high quality talent across the industry, backed with the processes that help you save time, reduce cost, and hire with confidence. Our recruitment approach is built on precision. So as I've already mentioned many times, we don't just fill vacancies. We like to find and place the right people in the right roles through a carefully selected, structured process. we start with fine-tuning. So what this means is we're closely working with the client to bring clarity to the role itself, defining the responsibilities, the expectation, and the cultural fit. And at the same time, we help candidates understand what really is required so they can make an informed, confident decision about their suitability. Next comes delivery. So at this stage, we're only engaging with candidates who we truly have vetted thoroughly, making sure that we have not just qualified them on paper, but we are also seeing the motivation and the alignment with your mission as a client. This ensures that we are meeting people with who are very serious contenders. And finally, we move to the placement. So our data-driven process, which includes insights from analysis, feedback loops and testing, enabling us to deliver faster, higher quality placements that save us time and reduce the risk of mismatch. To this end-to-end precision, this sets us apart and ensures consistent long-term recruitment success. So I'd like to share with you a couple of testimonials. These are two of the clients. We have a handful more that are on our website, so you'd be more than welcome to check that out. But this is just two of the clients when we first started working with Jewish Care and a project that we did with them and the timescales that we were working towards, and also with regards to Catalyst Care Group and the success that we had with them in our first year of working with them as a client. So obviously, please feel free to dig deeper on that one. So as we look into the future, our focus remains on growth, innovation and impact. So we're looking to expand our reach across the UK. I appreciate, obviously, our members here today are more based within the Southwest, but we obviously do branch out. So obviously, regards to that, we are continuing to build strong partnerships with care providers and organisations in the public and the private sector. We are our goal, obviously, is to extend the Olive Recruit ethos, which is personalised, value-driven recruitment, to more communities and more people. And we're also continuing to champion quality care through quality recruitment. By placing the right people in the right roles, we contribute towards directly getting better outcomes for service users. And that's something that we take great pride in. And finally, we're investing in technology and systems to evaluate both our candidate and client experience. So from smarter matching tools to streamlined communication and helping obviously assist with the onboarding process, we're making and committing to making the recruitment process faster, easier and more efficient for everybody involved. So Olive Recruit is growing with purpose and we're excited to see where it lies ahead. We've been going for 2.5 years now and obviously this is just the start of our journey. So this is our contact details. Fabulous. That's my mobile number if you wish to reach out to me directly. We're based, obviously, our head office. We have 2 offices. One of our offices, our head office, is based in Bristol at Aztec West. And our outsourcing model, which is our delivery consultants, are based in North Macedonia. There's only 2 of us in the UK that head up with and speak to clients, and our delivery model, as I've already mentioned previously, is part of the RPO. So I'm more than happy to discuss that with anybody if anybody is interested in what that potentially could look like. And I guess the floor is, I want to open the floor to questions. And if I can answer anything, please, as I said, reach out and I'd be happy to support. It's not always about filling a role, as I've mentioned. It's also about being able to be here for support and guidance, offer any advice, and really just to give statistics if people are just looking to find out what the market and what is happening within the marketplace. So, yeah, thank you very much for giving me the floor today. And if I can answer anyone, please feel free to reach out.
Lovely, thank you. I'm going to stop sharing the screen now. I couldn't see anybody, so brilliant. Thank you very much. I've got a couple of questions, Leona, if I may.
Please.
When you say you work with people, do you actually write the job advert for people when you're sitting down with and finding out what the nature of the role is? Do you do the job spec for them, or how do you go about that?
Yeah, so twofold actually. I'm very old school. As you know, I've been in it a long time. So often clients will have job descriptions that are already written as part of their policy. But because of the questions that I like to ask, I want to dig deeper. So I don't ask them what's just on that job description that's sat in front of me. I really want to know what it is that they need for the role to happen. Obviously, we can't let a client, we have to make sure that we're very fair and we're not able to discriminate. So we do make sure that we are fair and transparent. So if anybody does ask for things that perhaps aren't legal, and we do have that, I'm going to be honest with you, there are clients that will be specific. I don't want somebody of this age. I want this particular gender. Obviously, we have to, make it very clear that we can't work in that way, and we are very transparent in our recruitment process, particularly the fact that we follow a safer recruitment process and policy. But yeah, I like to be able to ask, as I said, and see past the job description and what's written down, and actually find out what really is needed to be for a successful transition of someone coming in. And often, if I think that there are things that need to be added to a job description, I'm not afraid to convey that when I'm having that meeting, or certainly I will suggest that maybe we need to make some tweaks. Obviously, ultimately, it's down to the client. And we're representing them. But if I feel that perhaps it's too closed and maybe we're not able to open up to a bigger network, then I would suggest that, because that's part of the expertise that I bring after these amounts of years. And I would like to think that clients will be guided by that. But having said that, if they have the magic formula and they just need an extra pair of hands, then we can obviously just do the vetting stage for them. We can pre-screen. So there's lots of layers of what you do. It doesn't have to just always be about finding. Like I said, some clients want to know what the market is looking like. One of the things that I've done for the last 2 years is a salary survey guide. So I've gone out across the whole of the UK, taken a certain amount of roles across various sectors, obviously done my research and due diligence. We started off last year with a couple of pages. This year, we're over 20 pages because we've been able to diversify. So it might be about sharing about salary guides. It could be about how many people are in that marketplace. It could be what the competitors are offering regards to benefits. It can be advice around retention. It could be the fact that they may have an advert, but they just don't have capacity to screen. So they just want someone to be able to ask a handful of questions, to be able to screen that, and then obviously present somebody. So again, it's not always about end to end. It can vary depending on what the needs of the client and how big they are, and talking about the bigger picture and where they see themselves growing. So, it's really exciting to be involved with clients that are smaller, because obviously you're helping shape their processes and what can look good for them in the future.
I I very often hear people tell me that they've set aside time for interview and the people don't turn up. So I can imagine once you've done your vetting and once you've sort of carried that processes that you do, this kind of alleviates the problem of people actually not turning up for interview, because purely they want to come for the interview, don't they? So with the interview, do you sit with the member of your client to sort of interview the person, or do you leave that part or do you do the whole lot for them?
Again, it depends on the client. I mean, ultimately, if you're working with children's services with Ofsted, you find that individuals and you have to have a minimum of 2 people on the panel. If it's only the fact that it's a startup, then there are times where you can sit and obviously offer and take notes, or you use a system that can actually track all of the notes that are happening. So like a MetaView or a Quail or something, or even Teams, to be honest, you can get transcripts that allow people to obviously take the notes. But again, it really depends on the client and what their needs are. So from our point of view, a candidate engages. We obviously go through quite a few processes with them beforehand. So again, that's testing commitment. And then obviously we can make sure, so we prep them beforehand, giving them ideas, making sure that they are again ready for the interview. You call in the morning or send a text, hey, good luck, I hope everything goes wonderfully. But I'm not going to sit here and say to you that every single candidate, I mean, look, we deal with people. And even though I would love to say that every single person that you prep and speak to an hour before the interview, you expect them to turn up. They have definitely had times where people haven't turned up. There have been times where there's been emergencies, particularly if they're already working, where they've been pulled into something. I know that's even happened to me in the past, where I've planned to have time out and I've been called into an emergency meeting, which I know, I can't miss because of the impact that that would have on my current role or my team or whatever. So I would like to say I wish it never ever happened, but it does, and it's real life. But what we can offer is absolutely bespoke to the client and the needs. Some people are very experienced, they enjoy doing it. Other people are very inexperienced and they would just like you to sit on 1 or 2 interviews just to give them that support, to give them that guideline and to sort of think. And there can be various stages. So for instance, we do a pre-screen that could be tailored, or it can be, bespoke to the client itself. Or we can do our more generalized one. You've obviously got the psychometric testing, which again, some clients absolutely love, but again, don't always understand how that looks like, what that looks like. So you have to spend that time talking about it and use it. And that can also create a lot of interview questions, which is great. So that can really support the interview process for a client who's maybe a little bit less experienced. We use the Big 5 assessment process. So it's brilliant, very, very robust. And again, you can feed that with a job description. You can create very bespoke interview questions. So you can do a lot for the client depending on what they want. And that's not of additional costings. That is just part of our service. But sometimes that can overcomplicate for some clients because they're not that big. They don't need that. They know what they're looking for. So as I said, that's why I said it's always bespoke. It's unique to the individual's needs and what they're actually aiming to get out of it, what it is that they're looking and where it is from that point of view. So yeah, lots of layers to what you can do. And obviously, I think from our point of view, it's great for teams. Back in the day, it always used to be. I mean, I used to do lots of assessment centres, where you'd have 10 people turning up and you'd narrow it down and you do a lot of the work on the site, insight with regards to, so you were then positioning just a handful of individuals in front of the client. But again, you're going with the times. People's times are a lot more precious. They don't have as much. Everybody is remote or hybrid working. So you have to move with the times to obviously make sure you're not slowing down the process.
Well, I agree. I think what you've got here is a real good tool that will support, and I hope people listening today will appreciate both offers from Syncurio and Olive Recruit to have a look and sort of engage with you. So, yeah, clearly what you have is helpful to the industry. So, thank you very much. Thank you for your time today. I'm going to stop recording now.